Hello and welcome to my review of Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch, starring Emily Browning, Abby Cornish, and Vanessa Hudgens.
Open up like a Russian town. Never say, sit back home. Don't you dare run. I've been in my ears.
I'm sorry, if I didn't mention Sucker Punch by Envy on the Coast, my girlfriend would be sad. I'm whipped, I know. Moving right along. Sucker Punch centers on a girl who is never actually given a name, but is nicknamed Baby Doll, and her story is that she has this evil stepfather, and he frames her for the murder of her sister and throws her into a mental asylum to receive a lobotomy in a few days. And since nobody wants a lobotomy, Baby Doll joins forces with her fellow inmates / strippers, because the mental institution is also a burlesque club for some reason. Yeah, this movie and logic, not really acquainted. The group form an escape plan that, this is going to be difficult to explain. Baby Doll has an ability to dance really well, like strip dance really well, when she imagines her and her new comrades in very out there fantasy scenarios. So the group uses this to their advantage as they go to steal the 5 items they need to escape. And what the movie does is it cuts into Baby Doll's fantasies, which are just these crazy, action-packed fantasies that have nothing to do with anything besides getting the item, and the movie just progresses from there. Yeah, and me talking about the plot of this movie just makes about as much sense as watching it, so don't get on me for that. This movie has been getting absolutely ripped to shreds by the critics. Like, they're making it sound like it's The Last Airbender bad, or like Batman and Robin bad. I was walking in ready to tear this movie to shreds. And you guys are gonna hate me for this, but let me let you in on a little secret. I kinda liked it a little. I'm sorry! But yes, this movie has numerous flaws. But first, let's just get into what I liked about it. I really can't explain what won me over about this film. It really is an awful storyline, but it's just such utter beautiful insanity that my brain just kind of went into this alternative mode to where it just became so numb and it just didn't want to think anymore that I just kind of started enjoying myself, and I actually got pretty wrapped up in it. And I think a big part of that is the amazing visual style of this film. This is actually my first live-action Zack Snyder movie, so I think that's a big part of it, because a lot of people are getting burnt out on the stuff he does, but this was actually my introduction. So Zack Snyder is a very meticulous visual artist. If you look, every shot, there's no wasted shots in this movie. It's very, very planned and purposeful. Every shot feels like a piece of art in and of itself. This movie looks like it was ripped right from the pages of a dark, obscure graphic novel. And then it'll get into the fantasy sequences, and this is where things get real interesting. Now, the girls have to obtain very simple items, a map, a key, etc. And for some reason, Baby Doll imagines, for example, the map is a giant skirmish in trenches against Nazi zombies. And that's not even half of it. There's fights against robots, dragons, all sorts of crazy stuff. I just couldn't bring myself to hate all this just visual, just spasticness and insanity. I enjoyed it. And there are definitely flaws in this visual style. He does definitely overuse the slow-mo. Every other shot is an extreme close-up, super slow-mo of like the most minute things. But it's only overbearing in a couple scenes. In fact, the one scene where he shoots it really well, and he shoots it normal, which is the Nazi zombie trench fight, is actually one of the more impressive action sequences I've seen in a little while. Everything's just on such a huge scale, and I can't help but enjoy it. But once we get into the story and the characters, things start to get pretty bad. First off, when you have a movie that's about a group of characters who are working together to achieve a goal, each character has to be very, very memorable, and this film utterly fails at that. Every one of these actresses are as bland as can be. They can't emote for anything, and they just show there's no character to them. None of them are funny, none of them really show any sense of anything that's going on. They're just bland characters that just sit there and say Zack Snyder's awful dialogue. They really, really are there just to look hot. And this is just such an undercooked story. Like, I really feel like there should have been another screenwriter to come in and just clean the whole thing out, because while the fantasy sequences are cool, they have nothing to do with anything besides the minute detail of obtaining these items. What I would have done is I would have made it so that in each fantasy sequence, Baby Doll confronts one of her own personal demons in each scene, and she overcomes one of her fears or one of her doubts or anything going on internally inside her head. But instead, we just get action, bullet, blowing up things, dragons going all crazy. And while that's cool, there's just zero character development or anything to really attach to in this film. And everything he tries to do to achieve that feels really forced and artificial. There are hints of a great film here, but nothing is really utilized. Overall, I look at Sucker Punch as a purely visual and action experience. It's nothing else. Sure, see it in the theater, it looks real nice, but you're not going to get anything out of it. I'm going to give it 2 stars out of 4 because it does have some impressive action, and I had fun with it. Like, I enjoyed it all the way through, but it's just so empty. I can't really give it anything above that. I want to give it a 2.5, but it's just so empty, and it's not particularly a good movie. It's just an entertaining one. But it's not quite as bad as people are saying it is. And if you enjoy this review, subscribe to my channel, because there'll be plenty more reviews and videos coming up.